Welcome to the Akashic Library.
Have you ever noticed that? That the harder you try to control something, the more it just seems to slip through your fingers. It's this super frustrating and honestly universal feeling. Well, today we're going to unpack exactly why that happens. We're diving deep into this fascinating idea called the paradox of control.
So our story kicks off with a pretty simple problem. You've got a man, he lives near a river, and every rainy season it floods. A predictable natural event. And his solution? It seems just as straightforward. He's going to build a dam to protect his home. But this simple solution, well, it's the seed of a much, much bigger problem.
And that simple solution? Well, that's the first step into what we're going to call the control trap. It's this place where our best efforts to manage the world around us can actually end up trapping us instead.
Now, check out the pattern here, because it's all about escalation. The man doesn't just build the dam once and call it a day. Nope. Every single year, he's pouring more time, more energy into making it bigger, stronger. He's doubling down on this one strategy of control. But here's the thing. Nature is unpredictable. One year, the flood is just too powerful. And the very thing he built for protection, it becomes the cause of a total catastrophe.
And this is the real kicker. His obsession with that one dam completely blinded him. By putting all his faith in this single method of control, he totally ignored other, more flexible strategies, like, drainage systems or even just having sandbags ready. He was completely unprepared for failure, and that's exactly what made the final outcome so devastating.
So this little story isn't just about a guy in a river, right? It illustrates a much bigger idea. So let's give this phenomenon a name and look at a famous historical example that just perfectly captures this trap. And there it is, the paradox of control. It's this idea that when you try to force your will onto things you just can't manage, whether that's a river, the outcome of a huge project at work, or even how somebody else feels about you, you actually give away your own sense of control. Your well-being gets tied to something that's fundamentally unstable. And hey, this idea is not new. Not at all. In fact, one of the best illustrations comes from the legend of King Canute, a powerful monarch who decided to put his authority to the ultimate test against nature itself. Just picture this for a second. You've got a king sitting on his throne at the edge of the sea, literally commanding the tide to stop. It is the absolute peak of human arrogance. And of course, the tide did what the tide does. It kept coming in, completely ignoring his royal command and soaking his feet. King Canute's story is such a powerful warning because, let's be honest, we've all got a little bit of Canute in us, don't we? We try to perfectly manage our reputation online, but a single comment can just change the whole narrative. We try to control what our coworkers do, but they've got their own free will. We try to control our bodies, but they age and they change no matter what we do. At the end of the day, these are all illusions of control. Okay, so if trying to control the outside world is a trap, what's the alternative? Do we just give up? Well, not exactly. Ancient philosophy actually offers a really powerful tool for this exact problem, the dichotomy of control. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because admitting our limits can feel pretty powerless. But the key isn't to give up. It's to redirect our focus. So what is actually in our power? For the answer, we're going to turn to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. He laid out this incredibly simple yet totally profound distinction over 2,000 years ago, and it's the foundation for a much more resilient way of living. And this breaks his idea down perfectly. On the left, you see this short list of things we truly command: our opinions, our motivations, our desires, and at the end of the day, our own actions. Okay, so think about a stressful job interview. You can't control if you get the job, right? But you can control how well you prepare, the attitude you bring into the room, and the effort you put into your answers. The Stoic path is to pour all our energy into that list on the left and learn to accept the list on the right. Okay, so we've got the Stoic approach. Now let's bring in another piece of ancient wisdom that complements this perfectly. This next part is all about learning to embrace the unpredictable nature of life itself. This is the famous parable of the Taoist farmer, and you gotta notice the pattern. An event happens that his neighbors immediately label bad luck. His horse runs away. But the farmer? He withholds judgment. Then, what seemed bad turns out to be good. The horse comes back with another one. But then that good thing leads to a bad thing. His son breaks his leg. And then that bad event saves his son from going to war. His response is always the same. Who knows what's good or bad? The lesson here is just huge. We spend so much energy trying to engineer good outcomes,
like landing that perfect job, and avoiding bad ones, like a project failing. But we have such a limited perspective. A painful layoff could be the very thing that pushes you toward a way more fulfilling career. Life can really only be understood looking backward. Our attempts to control the future are just based on a total guess.
All right, so where does all this leave us? We've seen the trap of external control. We've seen the wisdom of accepting uncertainty. So in this final section, let's bring it all together and see how to actually apply this stuff in our own lives.
But to really make a change, we have to understand the root cause. If trying to control everything makes us so miserable, why are we so drawn to it? What's the engine that's driving this behavior?
And man, the philosopher Alan Watts just hits the nail on the head with this quote. Our desperate need for control, for security, it doesn't come from a place of strength. It comes from a deep-seated feeling of insecurity. We're afraid of the unknown, so we try to eliminate it. But the very act of trying to hold on so tight just highlights how insecure we really feel.
And here comes the Stoic philosopher Seneca with another piece of the puzzle. Most of the stress we feel isn't from events happening right now. It's from us catastrophizing about what might happen, compulsively checking the news, endlessly worrying about a presentation. We are masters of tormenting ourselves with imagined futures that we feel we have to control.
So, what this all reveals is a powerful shift in mindset. Real lasting security isn't found by building bigger dams or commanding the tides. It's found by building a stronger inner self, by developing the resilience to handle whatever life throws at you, whether you predicted it or not.
And this is how we do it. We bring our focus right back to that first list from Epictetus, our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. We stop being so rigid and learn to value flexibility. We practice accepting that life is, by its very nature, unpredictable. And maybe most importantly, we consciously work to let go of that imagined need for total control that causes us so much suffering. I want to leave you with this final thought from Carl Jung. It's the ultimate expression of his whole philosophy. External events are going to happen. The river will flood, but those events don't have to define you. The real power, the only control that truly matters, is the choice you have in every single moment about how you respond and who you choose to become.
The more you try to control, the less control you actually have. Next, break free from bondage in The Power of Detachment.